The AV Club thinks Season 15, Episode 3 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is the worst episode ever. I disagree. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Saturdays in December, I am reviewing Season 15 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Today, Episodes 3 and 4. If you don't like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you should probably leave, because there's nothing else in today's show but that. Episode 3, the gang buys a roller rink. In the past, an innocent Dennis learns the horrifying details of Frank's business. A truly sweet Dee is excited to head off for Hollywood, while Charlie and Mac's jobs at the roller rink are in jeopardy. I'm going to crib off the AV Club's review here. I was also on the It's Always Sunny Reddit, and some people are like out of their mind that this episode was bad. It bothered them that it kind of broke some of the continuity in the episode. We saw some detail about how the gang may have purchased the bar in the first place. There were also some details. So we saw a very nerdy Dennis at kind of high school, college age, but we've previously established that Dennis thought he was pretty cool in high school. Again, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I said this about Episode 1. I felt like Episode 1 was apocryphal. It just didn't make sense that, like, all that stuff, and go listen to last Saturday's episode, I explained it there better, but it didn't make sense to me that all that stuff would happen in the quote-unquote real world. So maybe if this episode bothered you, just think of that this episode is also apocryphal. Maybe this whole season is apocryphal. But on the other hand, it's just It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We take fun characters out for a drive. We have some laughs. I laughed at this episode. I thought it was good. The AV Club writes, of all the format-breaking stunt episodes It's Always Sunny has perpetrated in its now 15 years on the air, none are as consistently disappointing as the flashback, the gang buys a roller rink. It's not Frank's brother abysmal, but it's perhaps more worrisome in how flippantly it punishes us for giving a darn about the show's world. The AV Club writes, I can accept that the never-before-mentioned roller rink, which apparently is around the corner from the bar, was the gang's go-to hangout before they managed to purchase Philly's least reputable bar, and Charlie being a smooth-skating, blissfully competent second-in-command to the rink owner could be chalked up to Charlie's long history of revealing oddball capabilities. Mac being a sleazy weed dealer is iffier, considering Mac's inherent unwillingness to court actual physical danger. I thought Mac looked cool and a little scary as a drug dealer. 1998 Dennis is way too stiff and straight. A little cartoony, but again, I laughed. We know Dennis Reynolds' history of self-aggrandizement, narcissism, and hinted at psychopathic tendencies, again, see last week's episode of Daily Comedy News, to buy this button-down square version, even with some 23 years of accumulated awfulness yet to come. This is not the Dennis Reynolds we know. Again, to me, that's why it was funny. They were just all playing against type. I don't know. It didn't bother. I get why this might bother some people. And if it were a different show, like if they did this to, I don't know, Star Trek and started messing with the continuity, believe me, I would lose my mind. Looking at you, Star Trek Discovery. And that brings us to Sweet Dee, who truly and bafflingly lives up to her, turns out, unironic name in this travesty of mischaracterization. Dee was never sweet. So yeah, Dee was really sweet in the episode, then bangs her head and then becomes a psychotic B-word. The AV Club asks, is The Gang Buys a Roller Rink the worst episode in Sunny's legendary consistent run? That's a tough one. It's not as aggressively, futilely unpleasant as Frank's brother. While fellow flashback episode The Gang Cracks the Liberty Bell is merely as irrelevant as a sideshow as a centuries-long game of telephone can be, but even those uncharacteristic missteps didn't feel like the work of It's Always Sunny imposters. So yes, this was the worst Sunny episode ever. They gave it a D+. I'm not giving it a D+. I'll give it a B. I thought it was the best episode of the first 3. I'm in the middle of my rewatch. Now, nothing in the first 4 seasons would be the worst episode of It's Always Sunny. I think the worst episode probably appears in season 13. That was the season where it wasn't clear if Dennis Reynolds really wanted to do the show or not. He's only in half the episodes, which is the problem. I'll remind you, spoilers, in March 2017, following the 12th season finale in which Glenn Howerton's character was seemingly written out of the show, Howerton expressed doubt in his return for the 13th season, describing it as partially a creative and personal decision. He also suggested the show would take an extended hiatus in order to accommodate the cast's other projects. Howerton wound up appearing in 6 of the season's 10 episodes but had no writing credits. So I'm looking at season 13 right here. Some candidates for possibly the worst episode. How about season 13, episode 3? The Gang Beats Boggs Ladies Reboot. Dee the Waitress, Artemis, Mrs. Mack, and Bonnie Kelly board an all-female flight bound for LA to participate in the Women's March until Dee informs them that they're really doing an all-female version of the Boggs Challenge. Yeah. But you know what? I might vote for Charlie's Home Alone, episode 8, season 13. Charlie's left alone at the bar on the weekend of the Super Bowl after falling victim to his own Home Alone-style traps to protect the bar from intruders. He must try to overcome several obstacles to complete his rituals to help the Eagles win the game. Yeah, that probably is the worst episode in the series, in my opinion. All right, on to season 15, episode 4. The Gang Replaces Dee with a monkey. I had some pretty good laughs in this one. When the gang suspects Dee is menopausal, they scramble to find a new employee for Patty's Pub. Dee decides to put her acting career on hold in order to mentor young actors. So my deal with this episode is the whole Dee subplot didn't do it for me. If you cut that out and just stay at the bar with the monkey, I thought the boys and the monkey part was hilarious. The Dee part didn't do it at all. AV Club writes, "Where did Frank get a monkey? Don't worry about it." And while Dennis is initially exasperated, reminding Frank that their offhand mockery that Dee's job could be done by a monkey was just an insulting figure of speech, he and the rest of the guys are gradually won over by their new employee's facility with pouring suspiciously delicious drafts. The way they all respond with an offhand "thank you, monkey" to each deftly refilled beer speaks volumes as to how willingly we've been conditioned to accept that the gang's collective self-obsessed madness can incorporate anything that furthers their weekly desires. Now, mega spoilers here, but where I really cracked up was at the end when we find out the gang is all passed out at the bar. Apparently, the monkey got them drunk, stole the cash register, and, how do I say this? I think they phrased it that in their mouths they tasted something, what they say, salty and sour at the same time. It's perhaps the monkey did something to their mouths. I'll let you use your imagination. I laughed at that. The wife was like, "You had the giggles." I'm like, yeah, Sonny was pretty funny. The AV Club gave this one a B+. I will agree with them. When we come back, let me tell you about a bizarre It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan theory. This from Cracked. It seems the fine people of Reddit have developed a theory as to why each episode of It's Always Sunny begins with a card depicting the time, date, and locale of the opening scene. Sunny is actually a documentation of all the various crimes the gang has committed throughout the past 15-ish years. Dennis, Mac, Charlie, Dee, and Frank have committed a cornucopia of alarming offenses, including facilitating underage drinking, embezzlement, burning down an apartment, drug possession, animal abuse, sexual assault, grand theft auto, even conspiring to commit murder. They've committed so many crimes, there's an entire It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia wiki page dedicated to archiving every single incident they've legally effed up. The theory is the series could ultimately culminate in a courtroom showdown, much like Seinfeld. As many have noted over the years, Seinfeld and Sunny represent two sides of the same conceptual coin. Seinfeld's about nothing, with the character status as a bunch of raging a-holes playing second fiddle to its signature inconsequentiality. Sunny, on the other hand, is the opposite, while the characters have notably stagnated throughout their decade and change at Patty's Pub. Except, of course, for Matt coming out as gay in season 12. The show hinges on the fact that the gang is a group of terrible, terrible people who will happily F each other over for their own personal gain. While Seinfeld's banality would have been suited for a more inconsequential ending, Sunny, especially with the backing of this new theory, could bring redemption for Seinfeld's ultimate installment. This is not entirely out of the question, considering they included a frame-for-frame recreation of a scene from Seinfeld's The Contest during season 13. The gang could actually face consequences for the way they effed up the lives of everyone from the lawyer to the waitress to, of course, Rickety Cricket. Seinfeld may provide the blueprint for what could easily be a 5-star finale, but who knows? We're getting at least 2 more seasons after this one. That is your comedy news for today. Follow the show. If you're discovering this on YouTube, follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, Spotify, wherever you get your shows. I'm here 7 days a week. Saturdays, I'm reviewing It's Always Sunny. The other 6 days, regular comedy news. Hopefully you come back, and I'll see you here tomorrow.